Hi friends, welcome to the All-Canadian Reptile Girl. I'm Annaliese, and I'm probably not 3 raccoons in disguise. If you've spent any time on my channel, you know that I have a fair amount of pets, mostly reptiles, and you might think that you've seen them all. But I bet you haven't seen this guy, and there are others that have not been featured on my channel and you have never seen. So today, I'm sharing with you 5 of my pets that you've never heard of. Let's go! Okay, some housekeeping items. Yes, I am aware that Adam Wickens did a video of reptiles I have never told you about not too long ago. That's why this video is being released in the spring and not in January when it was initially planned for. If I had a nickel for every time I had a script, written and edited or ready to film, or actually already filmed, partially edited sometimes, and someone else, Emily, Clint, Adam, releases the exact same topic before me, well, I guess I'd be able to, I don't know, use a payphone? Maybe if I could also time travel?
How do you know what a payphone is?
I know what a payphone is. I've seen TV. It's not a thing of the ancient past!
Pretty much.
Anyways, another housekeeping item is that it is possible that you have seen 1 or 2 of these guys before, or if you're one of my patrons who also would have known that this video was coming way back when because I told you it was coming months ago, or they might be in some B-roll on another video, or maybe a random post on Instagram. But none of these animals have been featured or talked about in any significant, meaningful way on this channel.
Alright.
Okay, let's start with this little fella, Stickers. Stickers is an Everglades rat snake. He's actually the 2nd Everglades rat snake that I've had. The first was Beaker, who I had way back, and you probably don't know about either, but Beaker came to us with some undisclosed and very serious injuries and health issues. Beaker needed help eating, shedding, pooping even. He was gorgeous, a fluorescent orange. He was so sweet, but like I said, he was in poor health, so I didn't really show him on the channel. Ultimately, Beaker passed away, which was very sad, and I didn't really have a desire to get another Everglades rat snake. You see how that worked out, eh? Stickers made his way to us through an unusual journey. My mom used to work at a pet store a while back, and Stickers was supposed to be one of their breeders when he grew up, but he developed a kink in his spine. So he was relegated to being sold as pet only in case the kink was genetic. Well, before he could find his forever home, he just decided to escape. After a couple months of being MIA, he was assumed lost forever and removed from the store's inventory. Look, even in the very best pet stores or breeding facilities or even private collections, this kind of thing can and does happen. Well, one day, an employee was doing some cleaning and an old glue trap was discovered way up on a top row of shelves, and this poor little guy was stuck to it. He was covered with dead bugs and dust bunnies, so they had no way of really knowing how long he had been stuck there or how bad his condition was initially. But it looked pretty bad. My mom took the trap and some vegetable oil and got to work gently releasing him from the trap and then cleaned him off. By the way, if you ever find an animal stuck in a glue trap, either Dawn dish soap or vegetable oil will help release that glue. Just make sure you give the animal a little bath too. Thankfully, because the trap was so old, it was not too difficult to get him loose. He was pretty dehydrated and had some slight injuries from trying to escape, scuffs and lost scales, that kind of thing. But he was actually in a much better shape than initially thought. Mom got him soaking to rehydrate and checked with her boss on what to do next. Basically, he told her that he was already out of inventory, so it looked like Mom just got herself a new snake and she could take him home, which was what she did. We've been rehabbing Stickers for about 10 months, maybe, give or take, and he's been doing great. He still has some kinks in his spine, but otherwise he is perfectly healthy. He eats like a champ, he sheds great, is active and curious. He's a little shy when we go into his enclosure, which we kept quite small as he rehabbed, but he's getting a bigger enclosure soon, so make sure you hit the subscribe and the notification buttons so you see what he gets when he gets his upgrade. He's a great little snake, and as he grows, his color will get brighter and brighter with every shed. Eventually, he'll be this bright orange, stunning color. Actually, he's already started to change that color. You and I were just talking earlier. He was like a beige-ish brown when we got him, and now he's got like actual orange. Yeah, almost, yeah. Anyways, he is going to be a wonderful ambassador animal for live shows at camps or parties, and will be great to showcase that even special needs reptiles can make wonderful pets. I can't wait to start working with him in programs. You're gonna do great, buddy. This is Autumn. Autumn is a corn snake, and she is very sweet, if a little shy and jumpy every now and then. There's no particular reason that she hasn't been on the channel. Okay, yeah, I know I had Autumn in literally my last posted video on lies that I've told you. Remember when I said that this was supposed to be out way before now? Yeah, sometimes my videos aren't necessarily in the order that I shoot them in, or they get delayed or moved up for reasons. So if you've watched that last video and were excitedly pointing at your screen a second ago,
Here I come. Oh, here I come. Oh.
Yeah, like that. When I said that you haven't seen her before, oops. There's no particular reason that she hasn't been on the channel. I haven't done a corn snake video since I got her, so maybe that's why. She's got some morphs in here, obviously. I mean, look at her, she's gorgeous. But otherwise looks like a pretty typical looking corn snake that you'd see for a couple $100 at a PetSmart or other big pet store. But she's anything but typical. Not only is she a secret snake in that you haven't seen her, but within her, deep in her DNA, she has a secret of her own. You see, Autumn carries the scaleless gene. She isn't scaleless herself, see? Pretty shiny, glossy scales, they're there. But she carries that gene. And if paired with another snake that also shares that gene, some of her offspring will be born without scales too. This is Goggles, and he is an actual scaleless corn snake. See? No scales. Well, not no scales. He has his ventral scales on his tummy, and he has his spectacle scales that cover his eyes, and a few more here and there and around his nose, but for the most part, no scales. Now, Goggles has been on the channel before. You may have seen his video. If not, here you go. There are a lot of misconceptions about scaleless corn snakes, which elicits a lot of very well-meaning, but emotionally and sometimes ill-informed reactions to them or toward those that keep or breed them. But ultimately, Goggles is no more difficult to care for, no more prone to injury or health issues or reduced quality of life due to being scaleless than a normal snake. That's all covered in detail in his dedicated video if you want to know more, and I highly recommend you do. But this video isn't about Goggles, it's about Autumn. So let's get back to her. That's better. Welcome back, Autumn. So Autumn is a proven breeder, meaning that she has bred before, but not by me. When we got her, I felt that she was smaller than I was comfortable with to breed myself. She was also pretty weak, as she had been a breeder in a pet store where she was kept in a bin. So we just wanted to wait until she was a bit bigger and stronger, and she is now. By the way, just a little tip, but Lori Chiarini has a lot of good videos on how to transition bin snakes into a more enriching and bigger enclosure. So we did actually keep her in something quite small, and she is going to be getting an upgrade as well too. If you don't already watch Lori Chiarini, definitely go check her out, especially if you just acquired a bin snake and are looking to transfer them into something a little more enriching or bigger. Anyways, back to the original breeding topic here. She was too small, so I have not paired her with Goggles yet, who is completely unrelated to Autumn, by the way. But now that she's bigger and stronger, I might. And I'll let you know, of course, about that whole journey. Where are you going? She's so big now. I'm really happy for her. Another cool thing about Autumn, and Goggles too, is that they technically aren't truly corn snakes. You see, corn snakes are quite adept at interspecific breeding. They easily breed with other species of rat snake. Corn snakes are a type of rat snake if you didn't know, but they can also breed with some snakes of completely different genera. And in a somewhat unusual quirk, those offspring are usually fertile. For example, they can breed with snakes from the Lampropeltis genus, king snakes, and Pituophis, like bull snakes or gopher snakes. In fact, I'm actually fairly certain that my comically oversized keeled scaled corn snake dozer is a bull snake corn snake hybrid that is called a turbocorn. But this is not about dozer either. Where was I? Oh yeah, hybrids. So the scaleless gene that Autumn has is not actually a corn snake gene. It originates instead, naturally, it's a naturally occurring gene, in Great Plains rat snakes or Texas rat snakes, or maybe both. Who knows? Rat snake genetics, phylogeny, hybridization, naming, it's just a big old mess that I'm not going to touch with a 10-foot pole. In any case, it originates in the rat snake species and has been introduced in the wild and in captivity through hybridization to corn snakes and other species too. Now, we, in the hobby, have been breeding scaleless corn snakes for a while now, and there is likely very little Great Plains or other rat snakes in Autumn or Goggles. In fact, an argument could be made that they are no longer really hybrids at all, but I'm not in charge of labeling these things, so meh. Anyway, Autumn may not fully be a corn snake, but is definitely a secret until now, and she's adorable. Moving on. Next up is Daisy. Daisy is another special needs pet that we inherited from a pet shop in a nearby city a few years back. She is a leopard gecko, but as you can see, she has a little problem since birth with her right hand being kind of kinked up, and we got her, strangely enough, because of a spider. I know, that's odd for me. Just listen. You'll hear. So long ago, I did a video for Halloween. I think it was my first Halloween video about fear. Why people are afraid of snakes, where that fear stems from in pop culture, and other sorts of, well, reasons why we are taught to fear snakes, and why it's important to overcome our fears and phobias, that kind of thing. And to put my money where my mouth is, I faced my greatest fear. Spiders. In that video, I held a massive and terrifying demon spawn dark overlord of the nightmare realm. Of course, I gave her that name. She was, well, I mean, she still is, but she was then too, an adult rose hair tarantula that we borrowed from the store. Anyway, leading up to the filming of that video, we thought it best that I at least meet the spider and maybe try to hold her so that I at least knew what to expect. That makes it a little easier, I guess. I don't know. I blacked out. So we took a trip into the big city to do this. Totally not procrastinating. I spent some time checking out and holding some critters, which included this disabled little baby gecko, who I fell in love with, of course. Well, when it came time to hold the big spider, which was unnamed at the time, I started to get cold feet and needed some encouragement. And it was suggested that perhaps if I were to hold the spooter for 30 seconds, I could take Daisy home with us. As you can see, nailed it. Daisy is sweet and I love her, but there are plenty of other folks working with and making content about leopard geckos, so there was no real need or want to feature her on my channel. There you go, Daisy. Enjoy your one moment in the spotlight. This is Aelia. Aelia and I are still building our relationship. I've only had him for about 5 or 6 months, though he's pretty fearless. Not really much to tame down there. He was briefly mentioned and shown on the day that I picked him up at the CRBE Expo last fall. He is an albino checkered garter snake and has long been one of my bucket list reptiles. I have always wanted one of these beautiful little snakes and I just wasn't able to find one. Well, there was an expo a long while back where I found some babies for sale, but I felt that they were a little small, so I passed on that at the time. Anyways, now I have one. Hi. So tiny. Look at that little face. He's cute. He's a bit of a butt though. After he was done quarantine, I put Aelia in with my other male garter snakes, because he's a male garter snake, and he was doing fine for many weeks. And then one day, he was just gone. I tore the tank apart multiple times. He was nowhere to be found, and it didn't seem like he could have escaped because he was the same size that other baby snakes have been in that tank, and they never escaped. Given that he was the smallest snake, I assumed that he was eaten by one of his tank mates. Garter snakes are social and should be housed together, but they're also opportunistic feeders that eat a wide variety of prey. So while extremely unlikely, there is always a risk that someone gets swallowed. And really, any kind of cohabitation, reptiles of the same species, different species, cats and dogs, humans and dogs, humans and humans, any kind of cohabitation has a risk of going very badly. There are species where it will definitely always be a problem to cohab, and species where it's like a 1 in a million chance of going sideways, and everything in between. Cohabbing is always fine, until it's not. And I thought that Aelia's story sadly ended in not. Then 3 weeks later, Oscar seemed unusually interested in a bit of something on the floor in the hallway. He is a talented feline who enjoys finding and playing with or eating floor things. In fact, Oscar don't eat floor things is a phrase hollered daily in my house because, I don't know if you know this or not, but cats should not be eating tape, and he is unaware of this. Inspection, I found this particular floor thing to be Aelia. Oscar picked him up and tried to take his new playmate off into a different room, but quickly dropped Aelia when I scolded him, and I scooped Aelia up. He seemed completely fine. There was not a scratch on him. He looked a little dehydrated, but other than that, he was perfectly fine. He was alert, tongue flicking and moving around normally. He seemed curious. He didn't seem concerned that he was just ever so gently cradled in a 20-pound cat's mouth. Okay, buddy, come and tell me that again when you can fit into a cat harness instead of a dog harness. I was pretty hopeful that he'd be okay once he got some water and a bit of food in him. And he is! He has been living back with my 2 baby plains garter snakes, and he's continued to be a great eater and is growing really well. I'm still not sure how he managed to escape. There have been other baby snakes his size in that enclosure in the past that didn't escape, so maybe he's just really skilled. I don't know. But I'm still gonna just wait until he's a little bigger still before I actually put him back in that big tank. Just to be sure. You're small. Aelia is new to the channel, but there are some folks who knew all about him. Those will be my awesome patrons on Patreon. Here's some now. These folks make all this possible. If you like my content, you can thank these guys. And if you don't like my content, well, it's all their fault. As a small token of my appreciation, my patrons get some extra content like Aelia's whole dramatic escape, captured by Oscar, rescued by me story, or other secret stuff. Like, there are animals that you won't be seeing on the channel anymore because I donated them to Reptilia Indoor Reptile Zoo. My patrons saw an entire video on that. So if you want to lend your support and get some behind the scenes stuff, or watch my videos early and without all those annoying ads, sorry any companies who are advertising on my channel, I love you. Head on over to patreon.com/allcanadianreptilegirl. Thank you. Okay, last of my secret reptiles is more of an honorary reptile than an actual reptile, but I love her anyways. I'd like to introduce you to Charlene. Hi, Charlene. Yeah, no, I'm okay. I know that this is a stuffed squirrel. It's just a stand-in, because Charlene is not actually allowed in the house. You see, Charlene is, as you might have guessed, a squirrel. Just a normal gray squirrel, not a stuffed squirrel. She is very much alive. I'm not sure when Charlene adopted us. It just seems like she has always been there. We have a decent sized backyard with a fair amount of wildlife. Aside from chasing off stray or feral cats before Oscar can get his orange murder mitts on them. Seriously, he attacked and chased off a bear when we lived in Virginia. A cat half his size that he doesn't like does not stand a chance. But aside from that, we don't interfere with the critters that pass through our backyard. We humans built a subdivision where they lived. I think that they should be able to use what little space they have left. So we try unsuccessfully to keep the whistle pigs out of Mom's garden, but we don't do anything to discourage them being here. And to be fair, we all love seeing these little friends. On any given day, we'll have birds, chipmunks, toads, whistle pigs. Oh, I should probably mention groundhogs. They're groundhogs. If you're unfamiliar with the term whistle pigs, that was the name we learned for them when we lived in Indiana, and it stuck with us because it's cute. Opossums, who might be one of my favorite non-reptiles, let me know if you want to see a video on them. They're so cool. Also, they have smooth brains. Raccoons, skunks like the one that Oscar made an unfortunate decision to try to befriend last year, and of course, squirrels. Lots and lots of squirrels. I think the squirrels were initially attracted to our yard because of the bird feeders that they breed. If you have bird feeders, you are well aware with this inconvenience. But there are many that just hang out here. Even some that have nests in our trees. There are 2 female squirrels, one gray and one black, that share a nest in our maple tree and they raise their babies together. There are a bunch that live in our big pines and all seem to get along as well as squirrels can. Most, except Charlene, who is fearless, give Oscar a wide berth when he's outside on his leash, but he doesn't chase them anymore, at least. I think he's figured out that we like them. I've named a bunch of them. We've got Bun Bun, who lost his tail somehow. There's actually 3 different Bun Buns with 3 different size amounts of tail left. There's Blondie and Dagmar. Those are the 2 that live in our tree. Greggy's Leggies, and of course Charlene, who funnily enough lives in a neighbor's backyard tree, like across the street, and commutes to hang out in our backyard. There's also Blondie's brother, who looks like a pet cemetery squirrel. Charlene is the most bold of all of our squirrels, and we have quite a few, and does a good job of keeping the others in line. She will take food right from your hands, she will sit on your lap and nibble on her walnut or almond, and if there's no nuts when she arrives, she will hang on our screen door until we feed her, and has, on multiple occasions, just popped into our house if the door was open, much to Oscar and Beckett's horror. If she sees us out in the front or on the street, she comes up, hopping over to say hi. She yelled at my dad from a tree when he was working on the roof last summer, and angrily berated him when he came down. I don't know what that was about. Was she worried? Angry that he was vertically upwards than he should be? She also just sometimes will leave little chestnuts or bulbs on our front doorstep. Look, another gift was left. So generous. Not sure if they are gifts for us or if she's just thinking we'll keep them safe for her. I asked her, but she won't tell me. So I haven't eaten any of them yet. She actually seems to like my dad the best though.
Good morning, Charlene. Hi. How you doing, sweetie? Hello. What's going on?
Last summer, when working outside, she stole my dad's sandwich off of his plate and then peed on his laptop. And if that's not love, I don't know what is. Look, I'm not saying she's a good pet. Actually, I don't really recommend her at all, but there's no denying that she's adopted us in her own way. Very demanding way. In talking to our neighbors, some who feed the squirrels and some who don't, Charlene does not do this with anyone else. And I've seen her run away from people walking down the sidewalk. Somehow she's decided that we are her people, so we are. Now, before anyone puts something in the comments, yes, feeding wildlife is not always a good idea. I know. Animals can lose their fear of people, become reliant on us for food, and could bite or injure us. These are all legitimate risks. I would never go into the woods and try to interact this way with the squirrels there. But the ones in my yard are city squirrels. They live amongst humans, navigating human interactions all day. They're eating our food already, dodging our cars, and using our stuff. We'll sometimes go weeks without seeing Charlene, and she'll always come back looking very well fed. She's doing fine without us, and I'm not too concerned about Charlene in that respect. Taking a bite from her, on the other hand, well, that is a concern. Not really worried about rabies. Squirrels and other small rodents don't transmit rabies. Opossums don't either. But there are other things that you can pick up from a squirrel bite, and let's not forget that their bite force is about 14 times stronger than ours. 7,000 PSI is no joke, especially when they're that sharp. As cool as it is that Charlene has decided to befriend us, we are not in any rush whatsoever to expand our current level of friendship, and you are never going to see her in this space for a video. And I think that's a-okay. So that's it for today. Which one of my secret pets was your favorite? Let me know in the comments. Thanks again to my patrons and to you all for watching and subscribing and all that. And until next time, remember to nurture all nature. Bye!